Las Vegas, it's time for the main event. Budweiser, the king of beers, presents USA's Tuesday night fights. For the USBA middleweight title, Bernard Hopkins takes on the challenge of Richie. He dubs himself the Executioner and is backed up by his numbers. 22 wins, 16 knockouts, 12 in the first round. He rode his 22-fight win streak in a world title fight against Roy Jones. Outpointed over 12 rounds, the Executioner just didn't execute.
That cost me that fight and that decision because I didn't fight the fight that I normally will fight with any other guy. But then again, Roy Jones ain't any other guy that...
You're the pro. Relax and control the pace, Bernard. Attack the body early, wasting little. Begin cranking up about 4 and come on strong late. Looking for a late round KO, keeping your title from Richie. You've 12 rounds, Roy. Don't punch yourself out. Begin with patient flurries. Don't look for a one-punch KO. Use speed, movement, and reset, Roy. Just try to win one round at a time, and this, the USBA Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, I call your attention to the blue corner. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce two former champions. A former light heavyweight champion and heavyweight champion, the very popular Michael Spinks. And one of the most popular heavyweights to ever reign in the heavyweight division, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Smokin' Joe Frazier. Ladies and gentlemen, the officials are signed by the governing bodies for the next bout of the evening. The judges are Patricia Morse-Jarman, Keith McDonald, and Dalby Shirley. Your referee is Richard Steele. Representing the USBA at ringside from the state of Florida, Mr. Al Goodman. And now Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers, invite you to sit back and enjoy 12 rounds of boxing for the USBA Middleweight Championship. Introducing, in the red corner, fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in at 159 pounds, with a professional record of 14 wins, 1 defeat, 3 draws, and 9 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger, Roy Richie. And in the blue corner, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he weighed in at an even 160 pounds. His professional record consists of 22 wins, 2 defeats with 16 KOs. He is the USBA middleweight champion, Bernard Hopkins.
Okay, I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. I caution again, obey my commands at all times. Shake hands and good luck.
Okay, good luck.
All the pomp and circumstance in the corner of Bernard Hopkins. He comes in with that tough facade, Sean, but he even admitted how he was swept away by the whole world title scene when he faced Roy Jones, even admitting, hey, that's another step going to a world title fight. It really got to him, and he looks at it now as that learning experience.
Yeah, well, the only problem is you go in with all your entourage, and there you are, and you guys are going to take on this one little man across the ring. Then they all get out of the ring, and the man across the ring always looks bigger than you and faster and bulkier than you are.
Well, his people in the corner, especially Butch Lewis, certainly knows a lot about his opponent, Roy Richie, who's originally from St. Louis, fought there as an amateur Golden Gloves champion 5 years in a row, but of late has been fighting most of his fights in France. He had been managed by a French trainer and manager, Jean-Christopher Courage, and 11 of his last 12 fights have been in France. Richie undefeated in his first 16 bouts. But his last couple of fights, lost an 8-rounder and drew in 8 rounds against Kameshi Balul in France. Balul, a bigger fighter at 167. So Richie now comes back to the U.S. and certainly has his chance of a lifetime if he pulls off the upset. He is a strong fighter. Originally he was a light heavyweight, slimmed down, especially below the belt, he says, in the thighs and the rear. And he feels he still brings in the power and the strength of a light heavy in his arms.
Yeah, good little fighter. He has no respect whatsoever for Hopkins. He said he's all right as a fighter. He said he shows me nothing. He said, Sean, I'm going to beat him. I talked about fight plan. He said, I don't have a fight plan. Every fight is different. So in this one, I'm going to try maybe to go to the body, but he's not doing that here in this first round. And take it 1 round at a time.
Hopkins going to the body, then upstairs. His nickname is the Executioner. He does have 16 knockouts in his 22 fights, 12 in the first round, but he is not really just a puncher, a boxer puncher. His boxing ability actually sets up those KOs, but there's an asterisk in the knockouts. Sean, he has 12 in the first round, but that means there are not many that come a little later. Matter of fact, after 3 rounds, Hopkins has but 2 KOs.
Well, he's never had one after 5. And so, he is a fast starter. Sometimes, always in good shape, but sometimes it takes a lot out of him early.
So Richie then in no hurry and wants to get it past the third. Figures he may equalize it a little more in the later rounds.
Yeah, Richie shows a lot of poise here in this opening round. There's a body shot from Bernard. He gets a warning from the referee for it. Referee is Richard Steele.
Richie said he wanted to keep busy, but so far it's Hopkins, the busier of the fighters, in the initial round.
Well, the reason that Hopkins is busier is because he's hurting Richie with these punches. See, he's got Richie's back against the ropes. Richie is now on his heels. You can't get much power when you are on your heels like that.
It's mostly Hopkins in the first.
He's got control.
While in Las Vegas, stay at the fabulous Riviera Hotel and Casino, the entertainment center of Las Vegas. The Riviera features the best in entertainment, 2,100 luxurious rooms in one of the world's largest casinos. So call this number.
1-800-634-3420.
That's the Riviera.
Don't be so tall, baby.
He doesn't feel he's taking too much of a gamble in this one. Bernard Hopkins says he'll take on all comers. Wants to get back in to a world title fight.
And a fight like this is important. It's activity. It's on television. He's showing the world and the world champions that, hey, I'm Bernard Hopkins. I'm back. I'm not messed up by the loss to Roy Jones.
Ranked #1 when he went into the fight with Jones. He's dropped to #3 in the IBF.
Oh, and I tell you, I saw the fight with Jones and I thought, gosh, what a terrific fighter Bernard Hopkins is. The great focus, the concentration he showed in that match. Now, I thought Roy Jones won the fight pretty handily, but I was impressed with the focus and the concentration that Bernard Hopkins had during that match.
Although Hopkins afterwards said he fought the wrong fight strategically. He fought Jones's fight.
But he was right in there.
And he said Jones was at the top of his game.
He was, yeah. And Roy Jones, no question, one of the best fighters pound for pound today.
Bernard Hopkins, his first fight was as a light heavyweight, 177 pounds, and he lost his first fight to Clinton Mitchell back in October of 1988. His 2 losses, his first fight and his last fight to Roy Jones, sandwiched in between 22 straight wins. His first big win was against Percy Harris in his 7th fight. And then last year beat Dennis Milton, stopped him in the 4th round, won this USBA middleweight championship with a first-round knockout over Wayne Powell, a right-hand stop Powell in 21 seconds of the first round.
Yeah, and he said throughout his career he has been continually tested. Even in this fight, he's being tested because more pressure this round from Roy Richie. And Hopkins trying to make him run into those punches.
Hopkins made 1 defense, 12th round victory over the hard-nosed Gilbert Baptiste, who we'll see next week, trying to get out against Lamar Parks.
Hard-nosed is right. Tough, always in a good fight. Good aggressive style. Moving forward is Richie with the hands down. Dangerous things to do.
Now Richie wants to take it into some of the later rounds, but not too late, because Roy Richie has never gone past 8 rounds. Right now, piling up the points in the first couple of rounds is Bernard Hopkins. You said he's dropped to #3 in the IBF, ranked #7 by the BA, and 10 by the WBC. Hard to think of 9 other middleweights that should be ranked ahead of Bernard Hopkins.
Very tough man. Look at the basics he's carrying. The chin down, the hands up, the elbows in tight. That's why he's not getting hit here and why he's hitting Roy Richie. Good work from Hopkins.
It is packed at the Riviera on the Strip in Las Vegas. USA's Tuesday night fights back-to-back at the Riv. Main event last week, Alex Garcia, James Waring fighting to a 12-round controversial draw. Matter of fact, Sean, we're trying to break our main event streak 2 weeks in a row, concluding even. Pancho Segura, Benny Amparo the week before at the blue.
Well, between rounds, Jim Strickland felt like Roy Richie had a good round. He said, you're following instructions well. He said that was a better round, and you do better when you move in behind your jab. Wants him to punch more on the inside once he's in. Good instructions. Jim Strickland.
Nice shot by Roy Richie, catching Hopkins for the moment in the corner.
Yeah, Hopkins has his mouth open.
Best exchange for Roy Richie, the 28-year-old out of St. Louis. He has had 1 fight in the U.S. since April of '91. 11 of his last 12 fights in France, where he was handled by a manager from France, and he just kind of moved the operation.
Yeah, he's won only one in his last 4, but he says, you know, when you're fighting in another man's country and you're fighting men from France, that they sometimes take the fight from you. Says that he was robbed.
He had to be used to fighting there, although you say he won 1, 2 withdrawals. So here we are in the 3rd round. A learning experience tonight for Otis Grant, who whacked out Brett Lally in the 4th round. And as you said, you knew he'd be ringside for this one, because he someday wants to be in the ring against Bernard Hopkins. He's hoping for a world championship. So the education continues.
Oh, that's part of it. That's being a businessman as boxing. You're supposed to pay attention to your opponents, or your opponents in the future.
Otis taking a little bit of a shot from Brett Lally. You can see on the face. It was all Otis Grant dissecting Lally in 4.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressive showing. The Canadian middleweight champion, who goes to 21-0. And right now, a little dissection upstairs by Bernard Hopkins.
Roy Richie doing a good job, though, following instruction. Remember what they said? Jim Strickland said, follow the jab in, move in behind your jab. And he is trying to do that. It is Hopkins who has taken that half step back, resetting, and then allowing for Richie to run into something.
And Richie got Hopkins by 3. Well, priority number 1 for Roy Richie was to take Bernard Hopkins past the 3rd round, and he has done that, even though Hopkins looks to be pretty much in front so far. Richie had his moments midway in that 3rd round.
Yeah, he became more aggressive in that 3rd round. He was throwing the jab more, but it was Hopkins who was taking the step back and unloading. You know, this is very impressive from Hopkins. This is experience. See him picking his shots. Don't waste a single punch out there. Put them right on your opponent's nose and then move.
Well, we saw Otis Grant at ringside watching this fight in the last round, and we have now given Otis even a better seat right next to the ring. He joins us right here. Very impressive showing in stopping Brett Lally in the 4th round in our first fight to retain his NABF championship. Congratulations, Otis. And I guess the schoolwork is continuing now, watching a guy who I'm sure you'd like to face somewhere down the road, Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard is very sharp in there tonight. You know, he's picking his shots. He's not wasting too many punches, and he's just working. He's working nicely. But I seen him he caught Roy Richie with a couple of good shots. I thought he was stronger puncher there, and maybe Richie's just tough. But I thought Bernard would take him out early the way he started the 1st round.
Good overhand right now. He's picking his shots. Do you think he should be doing that after what happened the last round? In and out?
I think he's doing a good job, but like if he gives Richie the chance, like right there, Richie should be throwing straight punches because he's on the ropes, you know. But like, look at that.
Yep. And Richie is also following him around, staying right at the wrong distance.
And he's getting hit.
Yep.
He's right in front of him. He's not doing any feints. He's not slipping. He's just standing straight up.
Richie has a tendency to get lazy defensively. He takes unnecessary punches that he could block, and he just doesn't get into that defensive mode, and that's been a problem of his of late.
Sure, you know, it's an easier way to fight, Al.
Right.
You just stand there and you can take the punch, kind of roll with the punch instead of blocking it. Sometimes it doesn't hurt, but the impression to the judges looks awful.
Trying to get inside now is Roy Richie.
Yeah, he is at the wrong distance. You got to get all the way in or all the way out.
And also, Richie's only throwing 1 punch at a time.
Exactly.
He should put his punches together.
Yep, exactly. Well, they were telling him between rounds to go in behind the jab. He's lost that.
Coming down to 10 seconds to go in the 4th round, and we will pause for word from your local cable systems. You're watching USA's Tuesday night fights.
Damn, this is a legend. When
Riviera is the scene. Las Vegas, Tuesday night fights. In the all-black trunks is Bernard Hopkins. Middleweight world contender, comes off the loss for the IBF championship against Roy Jones in a 12-rounder. And right now he squares off against the 28-year-old Roy Richie from St. Louis. And Richie takes that left hook. Al Albert along with the champ, Sean O'Grady, and we're being joined by Otis Grant, who was successful in his defense of the NABF middleweight championship earlier tonight in a very good-looking 4th-round knockout over Brett Lally. And right now Otis Grant, who of course is a college graduate, finishes schooling at Concordia University in Montreal, and doing a little homework right now, watching a man who is ranked ahead of him in the middleweight division, Bernard Hopkins. And Bernard has been taken now to the 5th round and had kind of a tongue lashing in the corner.
He got beat up in that corner. Bowie Fisher telling him, short shot, and telling him to wake up out there. Come on, let's go to work. Let's wake up. Do you think he's falling asleep in this fight, Otis?
No, I think Bernard is hurting Roy Richie, but he's not finishing. You know, he's putting one, he's getting over on Richie. One right there, one shot, and he's not following up.
Doing just enough to win? Is that...
If he would hit him clean there and follow up 2, 3, 4 punch combination, he would take Richie out. But if you just hit him one at a time, then I think Richie can stay in there because it looks like he has good recuperation skills in there.
Why do you think he's doing that?
I don't know. Maybe he's just in that mode of like throwing one at a time. Maybe.
Does it have anything to do with you sitting here at ringside?
I don't
Maybe
think,
not divulge any secrets?
I don't think he's even know that I'm here.
Well, just stand up at the table and wave and
put your gloves on.
No,
stand up at the table and put your gloves on.
Well, he's certainly inviting Roy Richie with Hopkins holding the arms real low.
Oh, I love that.
You want to get in there.
No, if a guy puts his hand down and dares me to hit him, I'm going to try. But Hopkins should put his punches together, like 2, 3, 4 punch combination, not one at a time.
Exactly. A lot of fighters that I talk to, Otis, they don't care to see their opponent before they actually fight him. Do you? And why?
It doesn't really matter to me, you know. Like,
keep him up.
It was a low blow. I didn't see Brett Lally until the press conference yesterday and then at the weigh-in. But I think what happens with me when I see my opponents before the fight, a lot of times I'll say hello to them, I wish them luck, and I'll start to like them.
Closing seconds of round number 5. Bernard Hopkins and Roy Richie for the USBA middleweight championship. Bernard Hopkins and Roy Richie squaring off in the middle of the ring for round number 6 of the scheduled 12-rounder. And so far, most of the explosiveness has been in the corner of Bernard Hopkins. Again, hearing it from Bowie Fisher and company.
The left hook, jab, right hand, left hook, and the uppercut. The man's walking right into you.
Open your mouth.
Keep him up. You understand? The man's walking right into you. Step over to the side and throw the uppercut. You understand me? Bring the hook right back over the top, and he's out of there. You understand me? When you buzz him, go right back downstairs. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to work, man. Come on.
That is Rob Murray leaning over the ropes, giving instructions to Hopkins. He wants him to throw the uppercuts and then come back with a left hook. Your opponent, when Richie is leaning over, just walking right straight in, is asking for those punches. Good instructions,
yeah,
Otis?
I think so. You know, he's telling him to put his punches together. Yep. Uppercut, left hook after. And I saw Hopkins looked over at me between rounds and he gave me a nod. I don't know if that nod means that he knows that I'm here or if he's going to try to take him out this round for me or something, but he acknowledged that I was sitting here. Look at that. One at a time again. He threw one left hook, one right hand.
Exactly. Single punches.
As you sit here ringside looking up at Hopkins, do you measure yourself with Hopkins? You're ranked 6th in the world by one of the divisions, and Hopkins ranked number 3.
No, I don't really measure myself, you know, because there's a lot of, I think, bureaucracy with the ratings, and I don't even know where I'm ranked in the division or who is ranked ahead or behind me. That's something I don't put much emphasis on. I just, you know, take the fights when they come, and I fight whoever they give me a fight. Look at that. He's putting his punches together.
That's the combinations they've been asking for. And maybe that was the nod that he was telling to you.
So Otis Grant, after 21 fights, you think you're ready in your next fight for a Bernard Hopkins?
Oh, you know, it's not a, you know, my trainer, Russ, manager, whatever Russ and Tim Clahane, my promoter back home in Montreal, think I'm ready for, they'll give it to me. I'm not particular about who I fight. I'm ready to fight whoever is out there in the division or whoever is going to stand in my way to keep me away from the title. So whoever there is, I'll take him.
When you think about it, good following instructions from Bernard Hopkins. They told him to throw the uppercuts and punch more on the inside. He's used the uppercuts well. Now he's got Richie really falling in. Go back to the uppercuts and then come back with a left hook. Well, they got what they wanted in that 6th round, because here are the punches and bunches from Bernard Hopkins, the combinations, and look at the damage that second punch is doing from Hopkins. Richie is stepping in post holes after the second punch. Not the first one, but the second one. You cannot knock your opponent out with one shot. You have to throw combinations.
Richie's also bleeding from the eye, so if they don't keep that eye closed, they may step in and stop the fight.
Cut over the left eye.
And if Hopkins can work on that cut, like he's in the driver's seat, he's already in the driver's seat, but he should be working on the cut with the jab.
Richie claiming it was a headbutt from Hopkins. And now it is Hopkins looking in, measuring straight right hand, and a good one.
Right on the cut.
Al Albert with Sean O'Grady, and we're being joined here with Otis Grant, who made it 21-0 with a 4th round TKO over Brett Lally in our first fight tonight for the NABF middleweight crown. And Otis watching on, perhaps man and Bernard Hopkins, who he'll be facing down the road in a very attractive middleweight division. The left hook, and it staggers Roy Richie. Closing in is Bernard Hopkins.
Ready to go. Hopkins needs it. He has not had a knockout after the 5th round. If he could end it here, it would be good on the ledger. Would be impressive. Richard Steele's close.
He's not giving himself enough room to let his combination flow smoothly.
And this should be it.
That's it.
That's all. Roy Richie just outclassed and outpunched.
No standing 8 count. Richard Steele peering in closely. And Roy Richie just taking too many shots. Bernard Hopkins. His corner may have felt he started a little slowly or just didn't get the motor humming, but he certainly had it going the last couple of rounds.
And what you want to do when you're fighting a man like this, like Roy Richie, is be very cautious early. Be careful. Let them come in and score and perhaps steal a couple of those first rounds, although I thought Hopkins won every round. And then come back after that and take him out. You cut him, you finally knock him out, or you stop him, as in this case. Bernard Hopkins, very good-looking middleweight.
So Roy Richie had his best flurry in the 3rd round, but that was it. And Bernard Hopkins knew what was in front of him, and he knew Roy Richie would be in front of him for the whole fight. So both champions defend tonight. Otis Grant, the NABF championship. Otis, thanks for joining us here for your commentary. And
thanks for having me over.
We're looking forward to seeing you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And the USBA middleweight title held by Bernard Hopkins. He makes his defense. Butch Lewis in the corner with him. And he, too, just like Otis, looking for bigger and better things in a terrific middleweight division.
And here is a look at it right there at the end. Watch this hook. Kaboom. Now, this is where Roy Richie was staggered. Stumbled back toward the ropes, and he would never get off the ropes. And it was Bernard Hopkins right on top of him, sensing that the end was near. Staying close is Richard Steele, in fact, saying something, probably saying, punch back or I'm going to stop it, Richie. And again, staying very close, and that's enough. Richard Steele right on top of the action. Says that's enough.
And Hopkins now goes to 23-2, and the Roy Jones fight is only a memory. And He looks to quickly get another world title fight, looking for either Roy Jones again or Reggie Johnson or Gerald McClellan. Let's get the official time and Chuck Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 41 seconds of the 7th round. Referee Richard Steele stops the bout. The winner by a TKO and still USBA middleweight champion, Bernard Hopkins.
His 17th KO, but as Sean mentioned, only the first after round number 5. So Hopkins adds something to the ledger here tonight. We had some interesting fights on the preliminaries here at the Riviera, and when we come back, more boxing action on USA's. Next week on Tuesday Night Fights from the Florida Panhandle, home of the Blue Angels and the middleweight champ. That's his record, and that's him. The flamboyant Roy Jones. Pound for pound, the most electric fighter in the game today. Plug him in, and he lights it up. Roy Jones, always in motion. Also, another fighter with a high voltage rating. Undefeated and undaunted. Wayne McCulloch, the former Olympic star from Ireland, has the boxing world's eyes smiling on him. And it's the latest edition of the Rockin' Boxing Quiz, a lineup you just can't miss. Roy Jones in the main event, and Wayne McCulloch against the veteran Jerome Coffey. It'll be good to the last drop.
USA's Tuesday Night Fights. Knock me out. Oof. Oof.
For the main event, Budweiser, the king of beers, presents USA's Tuesday Night Fights. Third-ranked middleweight contender Bernard Hopkins goes in against young 15-1 Wendell Hall.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about him, but I have to say what I believe that any fighter that has the opportunity to win the USBA title and take my number 3 rating in the world, that they come in not just for a payday. That keeps me in check. That keeps me getting up training hard and running in the morning. You know, in the gyms, you know, who you fighting, Bernard? Guy Wendell Hall, I never heard of him. You'll hear him Tuesday, November 23rd, after you fight me. And that's how I look at it. It keeps me motivated, you know. So I always like to give a guy a lot credit, more credit than they deserve, just to keep me in check as far as not underestimating anybody.
The executioner is surrounded by his bodyguards, but knows how to execute on his own. He knows that this is no time to get careless. The crowded middleweight division allows no room for mistake.
I have to, you know, take one fight at a time and not only win the fight, I have to win this fight, you know, impressively, not just a hard gut out like I had a hard time for 12 rounds with a guy that's unknown. You know, and that makes questions in people's mind, like, you know, this guy couldn't get this guy out of here. So I have to win, but win impressively. Knockout would be beautiful. Just 12 rounds of punishment, and then end this. I think a fighter, after to get to a certain point, has to know how to close the show.
The names floating around in the middleweight division makes this the toughest weight class in boxing. Hopkins is in the middle of the logjam.
The middleweight division is like a lottery bubble with balls flying up. Everybody has a chance. You got great punches in the middleweight. What it's going to take is the right cornerman, the right discipline, and the right patience for the fighter to have, and let them know that if that's what you want. You just got to take charge, no matter what it is. Middleweight division is so the way it is now is like, to be the best, you got to beat all these good guys.
Last May, Hopkins lost in a world title bid to Roy Jones. Hopkins' punching power keeps several champions and other middleweights at a distance. So how does he position for another crack at a world title?
My thing is that I have to get #1 spot back. I'm not looking for no one to call Butch Lewis and say, well, we need a little tune-up fight. Let's call Hopkins for my title shot. I'm not looking for John David Jackson to call me and say, well, we want to work with Bernard Hopkins or Gerald McCullum or even Roy Jones. So once I get my spot back, that #1 spot back, then the pressure is on the champion, whatever division I'm rated #1 in. So mainly, I'm not even looking at the title right now. I'm looking at get the #1 spot back and then put pressure on the champion.
You feel that's the only way you'll get a championship fight?
The way things is now, with the fighters don't want to fight a tough fight unless they forced to.
And as far as tonight's concerned, just a chance to keep busy and do it in front of his hometown crowd. This is a no-win situation for Hopkins tonight, and he knows it.
Oh, yeah, Bernard has everything to lose in this fight and very little, if anything, to gain. But he is doing like all the other fighters out there do once they reach the top positions, the top 3. They say, hey, if the champion won't look at me and I'm fighting everybody that will fight me, if the champion won't look at me, I'll just fight as many times as I can. We'll get on the Bum of the Month club. I think that's what he's doing here.
But Bernard has never turned down a big fight or another top fighter.
No.
But this just means that he doesn't have one on the burner right now, and he wants to keep busy. He's been fighting every 3 months over the course of the last year or so, and that's what he wants to continue to do.
Oh, yeah, a real workhorse. He had his shot against Jones, and now a lot of people say, hey, you had your title shot. Go on about your career. But he is a fighter that won't go away. Real workman-like quality. He does his business, he sticks to his game plan, and he's there to fight no matter who's in front of him.
And stepping into the challenger position on this particular evening is Wendell Hall, who comes in with a 15-1 record out of Lexington, Kentucky. And Wendell Hall, like Mario Munoz in the first fight against Charles Brewer, comes in here as an unknown, untested. He's done well in his own state of Kentucky, but now steps up a major level against a guy like Bernard Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, and Bernard Hopkins, you know, we've said it before, one of the best middleweights in the world. This is a different level for Hall. The only way, though, for Hall to move into that level is get in there and fight people like Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, a real professional.
Wendell Hall at the other side of the ring now trying to figure out which one of the men entering the ring he's going to have to fight.
Or all of them.
Hall has been a pro only a year and a half. He has gone 10 rounds only once. He is the prohibitive underdog in this fight. And let's check out these two fighters on the tail of the tape. Yes, Bernard is in there somewhere. Hopkins at 6 feet and a quarter, 160 pounds. Now, Wendell Hall is fighting this USBA title fight. He is ranked number 12 by the USBA as a junior middleweight. His last fight was at 152, so if he doesn't have too many things against him, this is just one more. He is 6'1". He does carry that large reach advantage, 77-inch reach. He is essentially a boxer, sticking to the basics, and he's going to come in here to try to outbox Bernard Hopkins. Here are the USBA rules: no standing 8 count. 3 knockdown rule is not in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell, and this is a scheduled 12-rounder. And the scoring on the 10-point must scoring system. And now let's see how the champ sizes this one up on the blackboard.
On tonight's boxing blackboard, brought to you by Pringles Potato Chips. The number 3 rated middleweight is Bernard Hopkins. You can't let Wendell hang around for 12 rounds, Bernard. Begin with early cautious pressure. Pay attention to basics. Hands up, chin down, hit and don't get hit. Use a thinking man style. Take your opponent, Bernard, out to school. Then when he fails, make him stand out in Wendell Hall. Try to get into the tempo of this fight, Wendell. Use patient speed. Try to fight in spurts. Pick your target and score. And you must try to bring him to your level. If you can make him mad and get him out of his fight plan, it will help.
We are back at the legendary Blue Horizon Auditorium here in Philadelphia and around the country on the USA Network's Tuesday Night Fights main event, and is being promoted by Butch Lewis Productions and Peltz Boxing Promotions in association with Budweiser, the king of beers. It's the USBA Middleweight Championship. Is approved by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. The Honorable Howard E. McCall, Chairman. the Honorable Greg Serb, Executive Director, and is sanctioned by the USBA, the Honorable Robert W. Lee, President, the Honorable Al Lucas of Edison, New Jersey, the Supervisor in charge. Our judges, Lynn Carter of Philadelphia, Al DeVito of West Orange, New Jersey, and Frank Brunette of Rahway, New Jersey. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of this scheduled 12-round USBA title fight, Hurley McCall of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First in the red corner, wearing the maroon trunks with the black trim. He weighed in at 155 1/4 pounds. This fella has 15 wins, only 1 loss, with 6 knockouts. All the way from Lexington, Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger, Wendell Hall. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. He weighed in at an even 160 pounds. Now he has 23 wins, only 2 losses, with 17 knockouts. He is currently ranked number 3 by the IBF and number 6 by the WBA. From the Germantown section of Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen, here is the USBA middleweight champion, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
All right, gentlemen, I gave you instructions earlier. I want you to remember to protect yourselves at all times, obey my commands at all times. Is there any questions from the seconds? Gentlemen, touch gloves. Touch gloves, gentlemen. Won't start till you touch them. Good luck to both of you.
Only the 5th fight in the 26-fight career of Bernard Hopkins here in the blue in front of the Philadelphia crowd. Last one going back to January of '92 when he stopped Dennis Milton in 4 rounds. But as Bernard Hopkins returning home after losing in a world title attempt against Roy Jones. 3 months ago, he beat Roy Richie, stopping him in the 7th round, his second defense of this USBA title, a title he won in 21 seconds in a knockout over Wayne Powell. And as he looks across at Wendell Hall for this fight, Hall has to understand that Bernard Hopkins is one of the quickest fighters in boxing. 12 of his 17 knockouts have come in the first round. Hall's got that long reach, 77 inches, and he's going to have to get that jab going. He cannot stand inside with Hopkins.
Not against a heavy-handed Hopkins. 17 KOs out of 23 wins. Wendell Hall, I suspect tonight he will look better than he's ever looked before and will definitely learn something. Perhaps he may learn that he needs to learn more.
Well, he's a pure boxer. Jab and move is his style. Stick to basics. And he is feeling some of that hard leather already from Hopkins.
And this is a 12-round fight. The body shots land and they connect and they add up. You can shake those shots off to the chin. You can't shake off that body.
Wendell Hall turned pro in July of '92, and he got into the fray very quickly. He had 4 fights in July, and he had those fights over a 3-week span. And Bernard Hopkins looking to close this out in a hurry, but now moving away is Wendell Hall, still working the jab.
You know, he said it too. I can't allow for Wendell Hall to dance around with me for 12 rounds. I must get in there and try to knock this man out as quickly and as fast as possible. Quickly and as efficient.
Hopkins looking to turn Hall around, cut off the ring. It looks like a middleweight against a junior middleweight in there.
The strength you can see in Bernard Hopkins able to shove around Wendell Hall.
Bernard Hopkins, incarcerated as a youth but he came out real focused as a professional, dedicated to this sport, great work ethic, and with the understanding of the talent he possesses and the fruits it could bear.
Well, yeah, very disciplined. He says, I cannot afford to have a bad day. I'm a professional. It must be perfect every time out. And you have to carry that attitude to be a top contender in this sport. Very disciplined.
Called against the ropes, got to get out of there.
Yep.
Now being worked back into his corner. He got to get out of there too, and he holds to do it. Hopkins was married the end of August to Jeanette, who Bernard affectionately refers to as Miss Executioner. Must know that they do share that something in common. But they went on a cruise for the honeymoon, a week cruise, and Bernard started the cruise as a middleweight and then came off the cruise as a light heavyweight. He ate well and really had to get down for this fight. We will pause for a word from your local cable systems. This is USA's Tuesday night fights. And a nice right by Hall and an exchange.
Wendell Hall scored well at the end of that round, but it only made Bernard Hopkins mad. Look at this, right at the bell, and one shot behind the bell, but look at there, stepping in post holds. He is out on his feet. Wendell Hall now has tasted the power of Bernard Hopkins. Let's see if he changes his strategy.
Well, you said this would be a learning experience for Wendell Hall, and he learned right there, don't stand in an exchange with Bernard Hopkins.
Exactly, and I hope he learned to carry that right hand higher.
Actually, the best thing to happen to Hall. He tasted the power and now may restructure some of his fight plan coming out. It was a punch that did not cost him because it was after the bell, but he knows the power of Hopkins now and knows how he really has to box.
Real tough kid, but look at the right hand right in front of his nose. See it? The right hand is on the left side of his face. You get no protection on your right side.
There he is, standing in.
Yep, and the left hook is the power shot for Bernard. He loves that punch. Oh. Heavy punches, all business. Look at Bernard, serious. Get down to business. Down goes Wendell Hall. This fight is just a matter of time. It is another level. It is the minor leagues to the majors. Different league.
Halfway through the second round, the USBA title fight. USBA rules indicate no 3 knockdown rule in effect, but very rarely will you get beyond 3 in a fight anyway. Referee generally at that point take it into his own hands, and now it's Bernard going to the body. And here in the second, becoming a dissection. Wendell Hall, who has fought only one of his 16 fights out of Kentucky. We have seen that several times. Remember, was it Scott Smith came in against Eric Collin, who was several fights below the 500 mark, but certainly a fighter on the make. And Smith came in from Arkansas, 21-0, and wound up on the losing side.
Right, but the only time that you can get into this category of fighter is to face these kind of men. Take the experience, go back and learn. Stop holding behind the head. There's the referee.
One thing Hall had going for him is he had known about Bernard Hopkins and had seen him, and Hopkins didn't know anything about Hall. But by this moment here in the second round, Hopkins knows all he has to know about Wendell Hall.
Well, Hall said, of the number 3 rated middleweight in the world, he's decent. He said, I saw him against Richie and against Roy Jones. Said his fight plan was to box him, to stick to the basics. Well, the basics don't help you when your opponent's nailing you like Bernard is rocking you.
But Hall gets through the second round. Barely.
No, please.
The corner wants to stop the fight. Wendell Hall taking his worst shots after the bell in the first round and again in the second. This is the closing seconds. This may go on at least another into the third round.
Professional fighters have that 3-minute clock in their head. They know when the final 10 seconds is, and they try to pour on that final 10 and steal the judge's eye. Well, at the bell, it was Bernard Hopkins pouring it on, all on Wendell Hall, and down goes Hall. They wanted to stop it between rounds, and Hall convinced them not to stop it. And he is fighting again.
But Doc Stowers in the corner of Wendell Hall sees this fight, Sean, the way we see it.
This is different class.
one-sided. The
That's
towel
enough.
will be coming in
Yeah.
shortly.
There it is.
Knoxtowers throws it in. The referee, though, does not stop the fight. The towel cannot stop it. And now the count is on.
That's all.
Hurley McCall losing a little control, and now the cornerman comes in, and he had to do it.
Well, you know, he lost control on several occasions in the fight and also in the corner between rounds. Wendell Hall was begging that they do not stop this fight. It is the referee who stops the fight. The doctor was in his corner. Wendell Hall convinced the referee and the doctor that this fight should continue.
Only the referee could stop the fight, but if
He
you're
can
a
do it.
referee and you see a towel in, I think that would be somewhat of an indicator to you that that might be a good time to stop it.
Absolutely, or you can do it under the recommendation of the doctor. This is a big opportunity for Wendell Hall, but he was just completely outclassed and outgunned by Bernard Hopkins. Total business from Bernard Hopkins. Serious, went right to work. He realized that Hall was not going to be around long, and he had to take him out. Game, but not in the same class.
So Wendell Hall, who might not have been able to see the fight the way we did, close.
And a fighter will never admit that he's hurt or that he's out. Look at these punches from Bernard Hopkins. There is the towel, waving the towel, and even throwing the towel in at one point. And it is against the rules to get inside of the ring while the fight's going on. But if you get inside the ring, the fight is definitely over. Even when you stay on the apron, the fight is over. Especially when you're throwing in the towel. There is no towel rule here in Pennsylvania. But I mean, this man he had no business in this ring.
I believe
His
there is.
cornerman knew it.
Yeah, I think the 3-towel rule is in effect.
3-towel rule.
Yeah, but then Hall went down, and Bernard Hopkins actually did not clear to his corner. And in the confusion, Hurley McCall was starting to count the count for Wendell Hall, although the standing 8 count is not in effect.
Nothing wrong with the way you fought.
Yeah, but more than anything, the referee must take control of every fight.
Yeah, but
it is his decision.
He had not ushered Hopkins into the neutral corner. Hopkins was hovering around him, but it was essentially immaterial because this fight should have been stopped before that last part.
Usually a referee will grab the fighter who is scoring and pull him off of the hurt fighter and throw him back. But
so Hopkins says he must beat Hall impressively, and that he did, even though it was a man with a boy.
And we kind of figured it would end up that way.
Okay, let's go to get the official time. Here's Ed Derry.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Hurley McCall stops this bout at 28 seconds of the third round and a winner by a TKO. And still the USBA middleweight champion, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins. Hopkins. And how about a nice round of applause for Wendell Hall? Let's hear it for
Bernard Hopkins goes to 24-2, his 18th knockout. Wendell Hall very upset. Wanted to go more against Bernard Hopkins, but his cornerman made the right decision, really saved Wendell Hall from any additional punishment in this one. So Hopkins certainly holds on to his number 3 ranking, although this was a display against a overwhelmed junior middleweight who should have never stepped in the ring with Bernard Hopkins. We'll have more action on USA's Tuesday night fights. It ain't over yet. When we return, one more fight.
Now's the time to take action.
We are back where North Carolina Avenue meets the boardwalk in the Queen of Resorts, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And tonight, Budweiser, the king of beers, presents USA Tuesday Night Fights from the Coconut Ballroom at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel. And we're gearing up for the centerpiece of the evening, our main event. It's scheduled for 12 rounds for the USBA middleweight title. Bernard Hopkins against Lupe Aquino. Bernard Hopkins has eliminated 25 opponents, 19 via the knockout route, with the tools of an executioner. Excellent punching power, destructive hand speed, devastating combinations, a rock-solid chin. Yet for the number 2 IBF middleweight, there has been one defining moment he's trying to erase. A 12-round loss to Roy Jones 1 year ago for the IBF middleweight crown. That loss has hurt his ability to sign for another marquee match.
Why take the chance? I put myself deeper in the hole because I didn't win a world title from Roy Jones. I had my shot, yes. I'm still there, yes. But why fight him? So fighters go around me. So-called good fighters that's pound for pound or whatever, the Terry Nars moving up, if you don't move up, they go around me. Why take a chance on fighting Hopkins? What do we have to offer if we beat him? If we lose, you know, we got to climb back up, and we don't end up helping him. So by me not having the world title, the bottom line is I made it like tough for myself to get the opponents that I want.
Hopkins must continue to execute his talents, hoping that the Tonys, Jones, and Tates will eliminate each other in the upcoming months. He practices what he preaches.
I have to be perfect every night because the chips already is not playing my way. So why should I dig a hole deep in myself and don't do the things that make Bernard Hopkins in shape and get ready mentally and physically for the fight? Then I'm hurting my own self. I mean, if the road is rough getting there doing the right thing, then it's going to be really rough doing the wrong thing. Not being in the gym and not training, not focusing, coming to the gym 20, see fighters come on USA and you're 30 pounds, 15 pounds overweight, talking about they got a title shot coming in 3 months. Come on, that's a joke. I have to come in there in shape like it's this is a world-class title fight for me. This is for the world championship. Because if I don't win this, there's no Roy Jones. There's no Thomas T. There's nobody. It's staying down in the B fighter range. And I don't want to be a B fighter.
So tonight, Hopkins will be tested by a quality opponent and former junior middleweight champ, Lupe Aquino, who now at age 31 is out to prove he still has the marvelous boxing abilities and finishing power he used in the past to defeat such notables as Davey Moore, Dwayne Thomas, Milton McCrory, and Pepino Cuevas. Aquino does not come here to be the hunted, but rather the hunter.
I'm going to go out there and test his ribs, go to the body and try to take him in the body and then finish up in the head and take his heart away. I'm good at that, and once I get into that position where I hurt my opponents and I straight take the heart away, completely dominate them. And that is the key when I fight a fighter, is just put in the first punches. Let them feel my power. Once I let them know that I got power, they back off. They start their mind to worry a little.
The tough guys coming to fight, wings a good left hook. But Bernard's got a lot of tools to work with. If Lupe want to fight, I box. If he want to box, I'll cut him off. I'm not going to play his game, Sean. I'm not going to wait on him. The respect is going to come the first minute of the round. I'm going to establish my respect there. You know, let him know that, and he's going to try to establish it. If he's smart, he's going to try to establish that he's the boss. But I have to establish from the bell that I'm the executioner, I'm the man, I'm the boss, and you're not going to win this fight.
Hopkins gave Roy Jones Jr. too much respect in his loss. Does he need to be careful not to do the same thing to a buzzsaw such as Aquino?
Well, he's always got to be careful of that. And against somebody like Aquino, who cracks very good, you got to be extremely cautious, especially early. If anybody can do that, though, it is Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins, though, at 28 years old, if he happens to lose this fight, which I don't think so right now, if he happens to lose it, he can rebuild. Lupe Aquino, though, he's taking no prisoners tonight. He needs a win, and he needs it bad.
And the question is, does Aquino at 31 still have something left?
Yeah, well, you know what? The last thing that a fighter loses is his punch. He is going to be powerful tonight, although I think the speed of Bernard Hopkins will prevail.
Well, Bernard Hopkins A record of 25-2, 19 KOs from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love. A lot of his fans came over to Atlantic City for this fight tonight. It's only about 60 miles, and they're very enthusiastic about his opportunity to chase a world title down the line. And tonight he defends his USBA middleweight belt. Time for a look at the tail of the tape. Aquino is 3 years older than Hopkins. The contract weight was 160 pounds. Hopkins 3 inches taller. The reach advantage 1.5 inches for Aquino. And they'll be using the USBA rules tonight. Standing 8 count will be in effect. 3 knockdown rule not in effect. Fighter can be saved by the bell in the last round only. And again, they will use the 10-point must scoring system. 3 judges will score the fight. The referee will not. Once again, it's time to check out Sean's blackboard to see how he sizes up tonight's bout.
On tonight's boxing blackboard, brought to you by Head & Shoulders, USBA middleweight champion Bernard Hopkins. Your strengths are focused. Mentally, your concentration is unbeatable. And you're very adaptable. A world-class fighter with power in each hand who can box or slug. Weaknesses are few. Though you've only lost twice, Bernard, when you get behind, it's hard for you to turn it around and come back. And you seem to despise speed. Your challenger is Lupi Aquino. Your strength is just that, very strong. Good balance and can move forward while scoring. And hard punches. 34 KOs and 46 wins. Lupi can crack. His weaknesses, he sacrifices speed for power. He's slow, deliberate, and because of that, Lupi gets hit too much.
We're back in the Coconut Ballroom here at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and live on a USA Network around the country as Tuesday Night Fights main event being promoted by Butch Lewis Productions and Budweiser, the king of beers, in association with Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel, and is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, the Honorable Larry Hazard Senior Commissioner, and is sanctioned by the USBA, the Honorable Robert W. Lee, President, and the supervisor in charge in attendance at ringside. Our judges, Eugene Grant, Al DeVito, and Frank Brunette. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of this scheduled 12-round middleweight bout, referee Rudy Battle. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First in the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the gold and black trim. He tipped in at an even 160 pounds. Now, this young man has 46 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, with 34 knockouts. He is the former WBC middleweight champion of the world, all the way from Santa Paula, California. Here is the challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Lupe Aligans Aquino. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks with the black trim. He weighed in at an even 159 pounds. Now get a load of this. This fella has 25 wins, 2 losses with 19 knockouts. He is the current USBA middleweight champion and ranked in the top 10 in all major sanctioning bodies. From the Germantown section of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen, here is Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Okay, gentlemen, you've both received your pre-fight instructions. I expect a clean break at all times. Let's have a nice, clean fight. Any questions here? All right, let's touch gloves and return to your corners. Touch up. All right.
Bernard Hopkins, number 2 IBF, number 5 WBA, number 7 WBC. This is 4th defense of the USBA middleweight title. And we are set to go. Round 1 scheduled for 12 for the USBA middleweight title at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City.
Yeah, good power in that right hand from Lupe Aquino. He describes himself as an aggressive boxer puncher. He says his best punch is the left hook, but I've felt both of them in sparring. I think his right's better. As for Bernard Hopkins, I've never sparred with him, and I don't care to. He's a boxer puncher. He says he does not throw unnecessary punches. His best shot is the right cross.
I want you to reiterate what you said in the open. How good do you think Hopkins is?
I think he reached another level in the Roy Jones fight. Even though Roy Jones beat him, and he says too much speed. That's one of the things that gives him trouble. Too much speed in that fight. But even in that fight, I saw the concentration, the eyes, the focus of Bernard Hopkins, and I saw him reach to another level. Good overhand right from Aquino. Aquino must score with that overhand right and score often and early. You know, a fight of this nature, you have to win those first 3 rounds. Get your opponent back behind the 8 ball.
And plenty of action this first round. Hopkins goes to the body and scores, and then a short uppercut.
There is too much at stake in this. The USBA championship. Oh, scoring well, Bernard Hopkins. But whenever your opponent rallies like Lupe did just before that rally from Bernard, you got to steal it back if you're Hopkins. You are the champion.
Superb counter by Hopkins, who lands the straight right hand again. And now Aquino doubling up on the jab. And Aquino blocking the jab of Hopkins nicely.
Yeah, and Lupe is real strong also. When he lowers his center of gravity, it's hard to knock him over.
Inside a minute in round 1, scheduled for 12. Pretty good action, not much feeling out as they normally do. Hopkins missed on the right.
They both know they got to go right to work. In this fight, Bernard said that he wanted to complement Aquino's style. He wanted to jump right on him at first and then back off, try not to stand in there and slug with Aquino.
Hopkins finally got through that wall of defense.
Yeah, Lupe does a good job keeping his hands up high.
Hopkins with a quick jab, and he counters with the right hand to the stomach.
See the hands of Aquino up by his face. Now tying up Bernard.
Final seconds of round 1. We pause now for a word from your local cable system. A very good crowd tonight at the Coconut Ballroom at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Round 2 for the USBA middleweight title. Bernard Hopkins in the all-yellow trunks. Lupe Aquino in the white trunks with the yellow trim. And right to the body goes Hopkins. Is building his attack around the body first.
Oh yeah, he said he was going to start hitting downstairs early. He said at this level everyone is dangerous, talking about Lupe Aquino. Said control must be established early. And he's right. Both of them right back to work. Bernard Hopkins is a very disciplined fighter, a consummate professional. Said he was going to keep Lupe Aquino in the middle of the ring, and he was going to look for the holes. See the defense of Aquino? He keeps his hands up nicely, as we talked about last round. You got to search around for those openings. They're in there. You just got to find them. You got to find where your gloves will fit. You don't want to hit him on the elbows or on the gloves.
He found a little bit of an opening there with the right hand, and it paid off. Some swelling under the left eye of Aquino.
Yeah, that's from the overhand right of Hopkins.
Body blows employed again by Hopkins.
Yeah, in a 12-round fight, you don't want to get too excited early. You want to get control of the fight, but you don't want to lay everything out on the table. If you get a chance to knock your opponent out, yes, you go for it. But you don't want to punch yourself out either. It is scheduled for 12. You got plenty of time.
Aquino is known for relentless pressure, but thus far, Hopkins has dictated the fight.
Yeah, dictated the fight, and this is the way the fighters from Philadelphia box. They get in there and they get on their opponent, they move well on the inside, and they punch. They love to fight. This is an action match.
Combination submission by Hopkins.
Downstairs and then up.
So many great fighters from Philadelphia over the years. Joe Frazier, Joey Giardella, Harold Johnson, Tommy Loughran, Matthew Saad Muhammad, Bob Montgomery, Lou Tendler. The list goes on and on. But I'll tell you, they've never had a middleweight champion come out of Philadelphia, and they've had middleweights such as Georgie Benton and Benny Briscoe and Willie Monroe and Boogaloo Watson we saw earlier tonight. But Hopkins might become the first if he continues to improve.
Some outstanding fighters from Philly. Oh, good right hand from Hopkins. Hopkins is landing with that overhand right.
Final seconds of round number 2. Good defense by Aquino. Blocked most of those punches as the second round draws to a close. Well, there's a big bout coming up between Roy Jones and James Toney in October. Jones, the IBF middleweight champion, and Toney, the IBF 168-pound champion. Hopkins, of course, has taken on Roy Jones and lost. And we posed this question to Hopkins: who would win, Jones or Toney?
If I had to pick between Roy Jones and James Toney, I would say James Toney. Why is because I think James Toney is a guy that's very hard to hit. I think he fights off emotions. Some fighters fight off for different reasons. Some fighters fight hard because they need certain things. Some fighters like to fight because they like to fight. James Toney fight off of his emotions. To take that out of him, like people were saying, he's a nasty guy. That's what gets him up. If that's what gets him up and pushes buttons, then stick with it. It's using it. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. James Toney is a great fighter. Roy is a good fighter, two different fighters. And I think that Roy will have to stop dancing and fight. This is going to be a fight where as though people want to see, Roy, what are you made out of? If we're going to pay you these dollars, we want to see what you're made out of. The same with Hopkins and any other fighters that's claiming they the best.
Yeah, you know, Bernard Hopkins realized how important activity is. And when he talks about that, James Toney has been the more active of the two fighters. And in a lot of ways, I think he's right. Bernard Hopkins knows the importance of activity.
Bernard Hopkins got the right hand through.
Yep.
One of the few times that Aquino has allowed his guard to come down.
And one of the few times Aquino has backed up. Now, that's why this fight was important for those first few rounds. You have to establish control. Luku's backing up now. And now it may just be a matter of rounds for Bernard Hopkins, because this is not the way that Luku Aquino fights.
Pretty battle separates the fighters. Aquino is giving away the body to protect the head.
Yes. And when you do that in a 12-round fight, you give away the fight.
Crisp, quick body blow by Hopkins.
Yeah, we've seen Hopkins before, and he is always busy. Relentless puncher.
And Aquino with a combination.
Yeah, when you're moving in and you're throwing punches, you leave yourself open occasionally.
Lupe is 31, 283 total rounds as a pro. Hopkins with 107 total rounds. Aquino has held the NABF and Mexican national titles.
Good left hook from Aquino. Downstairs.
And one of the few times in the fight we've seen Hopkins look to tie up his opponent, get a little rip. He can't get that right hand through. The one thing that Aquino is preventing is the right hand on the button upstairs.
Yeah, it's because the hands of Aquino are up around his face. If he could reach over and pull those hands down, then he could score with them, or go downstairs to the body. Forget about the head. Go downstairs to the body until those hands come down. But later in the fight, the hands will come down in the fight. Your opponent starts protecting his body, not realizing his chin is exposed. There's a little feint from Aquino. Trying to take the control back from Hopkins, trying to turn the fight around.
He toyed with him a little bit, didn't really work.
And also saying to Hopkins, come on and hit me, you're not hurting me. Aquino realizes how important it is for Hopkins to punch, for Hopkins to work for Aquino. Remember the last fight, James Hughes, how he made Tucker Pudwell punch early? He was tired late. That's what Luke was looking for.
He was born in South Carolina, but Smokin' Joe Frazier made Philadelphia home.
Smokin' Joe, a class man, credit to boxing. And a very happy birthday to Sugar Ray Leonard today, who is 38. Four-time champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
This is round 4, scheduled for 12 for the USBA middleweight title. Bernard Hopkins defending the belt against Lupe Aquino. Hopkins in the yellow trunks, Aquino in the white trunks with the yellow trim.
Wow.
Rudy Battle, third man of the ring.
What a battle it is to get those two separated. Rudy Battle.
Good body blow. Hopkins
body
is
shot.
jumping on those body punches.
Oh, yeah. The body punches accumulate. Your opponent can shake off shots to the head. Downstairs, you don't shake those off. And Bernard doing a great job moving forward with his punches. His chin is down. He's moving with his weight behind his shots. Aquino going backwards. This is not the way Lupe fights. He fights going forward, using that left hook to the body, moving his opponent backwards.
Hopkins is throwing punches efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, downstairs. Now look how Aquino covering up downstairs when they break.
Well, that's not an easy task, is it?
Lupe talking to him. Lupe has a loose cup underneath these trunks. He keeps falling down, and Lupe keeps pulling those trunks up. That is a disadvantage. When you've got your hands down trying to pull up your cup, you leave yourself open.
I don't think a boxer would ever want a loose cup. Hopkins with the right hand counter. And now look at southpaw. Aquino has switched to southpaw.
Trying to confuse Bernard. You know, he tried, the last round he tried jumping at him. He tried throwing his arms out. Now he's trying something different, trying southpaw. This is experience talking. Twice as many fights for Lupe Aquino than Bernard Hopkins.
He's had 54 professional fights, 46 wins, 34 knockouts. But right now he's in with a buzzsaw from Philadelphia, Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins won 22 straight fights before losing to Roy Jones Jr. Interestingly enough, he turned pro at 177 pounds and lost his pro debut, and then he decided to drop down to 166, and after that, his record improved dramatically.
Oh, yeah. Serious fighter. Really takes his career, takes the game serious. Says, I cannot afford to have a bad day. I'm a professional. I must be perfect.
Final seconds of round number 4 from Merv Griffin's Resort Hotel in Atlantic City. Jersey at the Coconut Ballroom at Merv Griffin's Resorts. This is round 5, scheduled for 12. USBA middleweight title on the line. Bernard Hopkins and Lupe Aquino. And thus far, Sean O'Grady, I have Hopkins pitching a shutout.
Oh, yeah. The first round I thought was close. And I called that first a draw. But ever since then, it's been all Bernard Hopkins. Bernard landing, scoring on the inside, going well downstairs, and then doing a great job coming upstairs. Bernard says that he does not want to waste any shots. He might work on not punching to his opponent's face, to his opponent's hands in front of his face. Punch to his face, not hit the hands. Or a lot of times what you do is you try to just punch right through their fists. If you hurt their hand, that's their bad luck. Oh, good. There's a good right hand from Aquino.
Aquino has landed 3 or 4 left hooks to the body in this round.
Yeah, somebody woke Lupe up. Now Lupe's scoring well with that looping right hand.
Good choice of words.
But you can't wait with a fighter like Hopkins. You have to control with something, and Lupe has lost his jab.
Hopkins taking a bit of a breather here in the 5th.
Yeah, and what a good opportunity for Aquino. Where is the left jab from Aquino is causing him problems. He's lost it.
Uppercut by Hopkins was sharp, and it landed right on the butt. Downstairs and upstairs, but nothing happening.
Now looking over to his corner is Aquino.
tell Abel Sanchez, his corner man, I'm okay, I'm okay. But he must start throwing punches. This is a terrible, terrible impression on the judges. Oh, he's getting through. Downstairs, he's getting through.
Hopkins all business. He is continuing to lean on his opponent. Finally, Rudy Battle separates the fighter. Right hand upstairs, got through.
No punches from Lupe.
This was a round Lupe could have won.
When fighters get up there in age, now I'm not meaning that 31 is old, as Lupe's age is, but when they get up there in age, in boxing years, they quit throwing punches. They can't get off. A lot of times they say after the fight, I could see the opening, but I just couldn't score against it, the shot.
Well, it's time for a little quiz on Tuesday Night Fights. May 17th, 1975, this evening. Who knocked out David Williams in the first round in Arkansas to improve to 9-0? And May 17th, 1977, who KO'd Tony Sanchez in the second round to improve to 47-1? The question will be answered by my partner. What is the answer?
I do not know the answer. Could that be me?
It is,
Is
folks.
it? Oh, wow. Where'd you get that?
I found that stuff.
Oh, you did your homework.
He's that old, folks.
Wow.
81-5, Sean
They're coloring that
O'Grady.
gray again, man. Bruce, you're pushing me over the top here.
Oh, the 70s. That was your time period.
The 70s, Disco Mania. It was in. Bell bottoms.
You didn't know that this was such a
Those
big night in your
suits.
life, huh?
Those leisure, I did not. I did not. Those days are gone. The good old days. The good old thing about the good old days is they're good old gone.
Well, this is May 17th, 1994, and it's Bernard Hopkins night. The right hand got through easily a moment ago. I thought that Aquino could have won the fifth round, but Hopkins was much busier the last minute and a half, and he probably got the judge's attention, especially when Aquino hung up against the ropes for 45 seconds.
Oh, look at these combinations. Very pretty. Downstairs to the body, and then upstairs. Lupe Aquino is tough, durable, rugged, strong. He rolls just enough to try to take the power, some of the power out of these punches, and does just enough to stay in there. See him reaching for that cup. See him bending down. He puts his hands down and pulls up on the cup underneath his trunk. A disadvantage that a professional fighter has and should not have.
Well, this is probably the fight that Hopkins should have waged against Roy Jones Jr. Instead of commanding the respect, he should have been inside and trying to take the fight to Jones.
Yeah, and using the versatility that he has. He can box some rounds and sometimes, and then other times he moves in. You know, and he's doing a wonderful job here of finding the angles. Oh, and
Lupe
finding the
got
right
through
hand.
with the right hand finally.
Boom, and both of them did. Oh.
That's 7, 8, 9 punches without any answer from Aquino.
Yeah, this is just a lousy impression on the judges. When you're leaning against the ropes with your hands up like that, even if your opponent is not hitting you.
Hopkins is in superb shape. Hopkins' body is carved very nicely. He's been relentless.
Oh, yeah. No rest. Pressure, pressure, pressure.
Hopkins said before the fight, I will be the boss. I am the executioner. I will establish respect early. I think he's done all those things.
Oh, yeah.
The body blows will stay with you later into the evening.
You know it. Oh, yeah. Those body blows will stay with you all week. This weekend, he'll be saying, oh, there was that left hook in the 7th round, and I got hit. Ouch. 7th round hasn't even happened yet.
So we're halfway through this scheduled bout.
Keep mind on your job, son. Keep mind on your job, all right? They'll be there. Same people be there. Give me the info over there.
The voice of Bowie Fisher.
They'll be there.
I made my job harder early.
Oh,
move that TV man out the way.
Turn your head around me a little bit. That's it.
What's up? You're all right. You ain't got no problem. We're just trying to keep it from coming up.
Deep.
When you lay it on your
Bowie
Patricia, former welterweight who boxed in the 40s and the 50s. He lost to Georgie Benton at a record of 13-5. Excellent trainer.
George, take a look at the rapidity of punches thrown by Hopkins.
Oh yeah, and a lot of punches too. Oh, combinations. He knows the score. He knows what you got to do. You got to put leather on your opponent's face, and he does. And Lupe Aquino tries to tie up. Aquino complaining between rounds about hurt ribs on his left side. There's Aquino again going back down to pull up his trunks. Aquino has an excellent left hook to the body, but he's lost it. And it's because of that rib over there, that rib injury. When you hurt your rib on one side of your body, like his left rib is hurt, every time you move that arm, it hurts. It pulls. He perhaps has broken ribs over there.
And again, Hopkins has Aquino up against the ropes and just continues to pick away and try to find the opening. Aquino finally got out of that tussle by using short uppercuts.
Oh, yeah. Attack, attack, attack.
Referee Rudy Battle's been busy.
Oh, yeah, he even visited the corner of Hopkins and said, don't make my job harder, meaning don't tie up on the inside.
Well, you've heard of doubling up in the jab. Hopkins doubled up on the body blows and then went upstairs and did the same thing, a combination. If you're going to throw punches, Sean, throw them in punches. Don't waste one, right?
Oh, you know it. One punch leads the other. There's Battle. Trying to separate the two. Oh, big combination. And the holding on and tying up, this is because of all of the body shots that Aquino has taken. And experience of Lupe Aquino says, I don't want to get hit anymore. Got boom, big right hand.
A definitive straight right by Hopkins, followed up by a left hook to the body. He has mixed things up extremely well.
Yeah, and with Aquino, this is a fighter that Hopkins could do just what he wanted. Aquino is having so much trouble with the speed and the power of Bernard Hopkins, much like Bernard was having in his fight with Roy Jones.
Coming up on 30 seconds in round 7 for the USBA middleweight title. Hopkins' 4th defense. And Hopkins with a right hand that got over the left of Aquino. Might have been his best right of the fight. Aquino showing his strength, but only in a defensive mode.
Still tough.
Switching back and forth from orthodox to southpaw. We pause now for a word from your local cable system.
Oh, best punch of the night. Watch Hopkins downstairs. You work downstairs, get your opponent to drag his hands down, and then kaboom, crack, right over the top. You will feel that tomorrow. Lupe will wake up and think, what did I do? And then it'll be worse Thursday and Friday, and then it'll finally start getting better.
Bruce Beck in tonight for Al Albert, who's on assignment, and the champ, Sean O'Grady, from Merv Griffin's Resorts in Atlantic City. And thus far, it has been a clinic turned in by Bernard Hopkins against a cagey veteran who's been in the ring with the likes of Marlon Starling, Gianfranco Rossi, Donald Curry, John David Jackson, Davey Moore. The list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah. Aquino been around for a long time. There he is. Michael Spinks, former heavyweight champion of the world and light heavyweight champion of the world. The first light heavyweight champion to become heavyweight champion. Michael Spinks. Cheering on Bernard Hopkins,
who is handled by Butch Lewis. And Michael, of course, aligned with Butch for many years.
Good combination from Hopkins.
Hopkins' speed has not slowed at all.
No. And Aquino staying just at the wrong distance. Moving in, moving forward, but staying out on the end of Hopkins' punches. Hopkins, this is a different Hopkins than we saw earlier in this fight.
Remember how strong he was earlier? Now that he has control, trying to relax a little bit more, trying to take his time, pick his shots.
Aquino was incarcerated for 3.5 years after vehicular manslaughter and drunken driving in a fatal car accident in 1989. Since his comeback, he's been 6-1-1, and he's been looking pretty good. But tonight, he's just been badly outsplashed by Hopkins.
Yeah, but the last thing that a hitter loses is his power. And Hopkins must be aware of that. He has tasted some good overhand rights from Aquino.
So you're saying that
Aquino really needs that.
Sloppy, huh?
Exactly. Aquino really needs that too. You got to get that right hand going, but you have to set it up. You know, the way that Hopkins is moving in now, you have to try it. Put it out there, stick the jab, let him run into it a couple of times, and then when you got it set just perfectly, where you like it, where you crack him good, then you really put the power behind it. Unload. Smiling now is Aquino.
Hopkins continues to be on his toes.
Oh, good right hand. Hopkins turning that into a right hook.
Final seconds of round 8. And a little bit of light from Lupe Aquino as the bell sounds.
But another good round for Bernard Hopkins. Lupe Aquino did come alive there at the last final few seconds.
You're doing fine.
Abel Sanchez leaning over him. Oh, that water tastes so good.
Catch the tape on Lupe's glove.
Well, we've talked about Lupe Aquino and the fact he's been in with quality opposition all of his career. And he's had some big victories over the years. He KO'd former champion Davey Moore. He also beat former champion Milton McCory. He beat Pepino Cuevas when Pepino was fading. And you can look at his other accomplishments, which are quite noteworthy. There's this Dwayne Thomas win for the WBC super middleweight title. That was the one world title that he owned in his career.
Yeah, and he lost it the next fight with Gianfranco Rossi. But the fight to Pepino Cuevas, he said, was more inspirational for him because that was his idol. The key losses for Lupe?
Starling, Rossi, Curry, John David Jackson. That's a quality group that he's fought over the years. And you know what else? It pays a little toll on your body.
Yes. He has been in some very tough fights and always gives 100%. In this one, he is just being outsped, outclassed, and beat. We're talking to him yesterday at the interviews. He said that he didn't see any problem in fighting Bernard Hopkins. And when fighters start saying that, you tend to wonder how they can get up for fights like this. Lupe has been around for a long time, but you cannot rely on your experience. You have to rely on a good, specific fight plan. Bernard Hopkins knew exactly what his fight plan was. Said, I'm fighting a good fighter. He saw Lupe against Bruno Phillips. He said he will try. Going to try to keep Lupe in the middle of the ring and look for the holes, and I think he's done that.
Hopkins is back to being boxer now after slugging for several rounds.
Yep.
Not a bad idea. Stay out of trouble.
No, you get in there and you get control, try to tone your opponent down, keep him in a defensive mode, and then you move. You change on him. Then let him follow you for a little bit. As he's following you, you're laying up your fight plan. You're gonna try to get him to run into something. Get him to come out of his shell.
Short uppercut by Hopkins.
Also tired of hitting the hands and the elbows with Bernard.
And that was the tone of Rudy Battle separating him and giving him a warning.
Yeah, when I say stop punching, Rudy says, I want you to stop punching.
Body blow. That was emphatic. And upstairs goes Hopkins. A minute to go in the ninth. Scheduled for 12. Hopkins' work ethic in this fight has been outstanding.
Oh yeah, great focus from him. Even in the Roy Jones fight, he was extremely focused even in the later rounds.
Aquino with those short chopping uppercuts, but didn't do too much damage to Hopkins. Right hand snuck through by Hopkins.
Experience of Aquino moving just enough to take the power out of these punches. Oh, he didn't take the power out of that.
That was a
He moved, but I think he moved with the help of Bernard Hopkins. The fist thrusting 80 miles an hour.
And Hopkins' busyness continues into this 9th round.
Pressure, pressure, pressure.
We'll be back. Welcome back to USA Tuesday Night Fights. And it is a stunning show being put on by Bernard Hopkins, defending his USBA middleweight belt against Lupe Aquino. We're in the 10th round. This fight scheduled for 12. And Aquino, I think, has been not only frustrated, but bewildered by the fact that he don't know what to do.
Yeah, he can't handle that speed, and every time he throws a punch, Hopkins hits him 2 or 3 times. See, there he is again. Hopkins punching in combinations, and now Aquino looking for that one punch.
Well, Roy Jones Jr. owns the 160-pound IBF title, and Gerald McClellan owns the WBC title. It only took him 83 seconds to dispose of Julian Jackson for the 2nd time. And in the WBA, it looks like John David Jackson is going to be stripped because he fought Jeff Johnson in a non-title fight in AC. So it's going to probably be Jorge Castro and Reggie Johnson fighting for that vacant WBA. From what I hear from sources, that may very well happen. But the question to you, Sean O'Grady, is where does Hopkins fit in this picture?
You know, Bernard Hopkins is outstanding, especially with fighters like Lupe Aquino. But there's a big difference in the Lupe Aquinos of the world and the James Tonys of the world. The Roy Jones Jr., Gerald McClellan, John David Jackson. There's a big Reggie Johnson, Jorge Castro. All of these fighters are a level above Lupe Aquino. I would like to see Bernard Hopkins in against a higher level fighter, like the fighters that we're talking about, because now I think he starts winning those big money and big fights, those super fights, because he is head and shoulders above the fighters like Lupe Aquino.
Rudy Battle gets in again.
Yeah, and he's had his test too. He's been beaten at that upper level, and he knows what to expect. He admits, I was a little bit in awe of Roy Jones Jr. and all of the atmosphere around those big fights. Next time he goes up, he will be ready.
Some fighters react negatively to a loss. I think he used it to fuel his fire.
You know he did. He is such a PMA type of person. Positive mental attitude.
And a lot of that has to do with his upbringing in Philadelphia and the fact that he was in trouble. Had to fight out of that. Hopkins spent time in jail.
4 years in prison for mugging. In prison, he was able to think, concentrate, and plan out what he wanted to do with his life when he got out. What he wanted to do is he wanted to box.
Final seconds of round 10, and again, it's Hopkins' show. It has been from beginning to end thus far. We'll be back. Budweiser presents USA Tuesday Night Fights. We're at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Bruce Beck with the champ Sean O'Grady tonight. And this is the 11th round of the scheduled 12-round USBA middleweight title fight. Bernard Hopkins in complete command over Lupe Aquino.
Oh, yeah. Almost every round to Hopkins. Hopkins has scored while Aquino has covered up. Been too defensive tonight.
You know what, though? If Hopkins is in the ring against a guy who wasn't as good defensively as Lupe, it could have long been over.
Oh, yeah.
They're trading punches to the body.
19 KOs on 25 wins for Hopkins.
Hopkins has Aquino backing up for one of the few times.
He could still get it.
He had Aquino definitely wobbly there for a couple seconds.
Go to work, says his corner. They think Aquino's ready to go.
Body blow. That was very much a crunching punch. Another digging left hook to the body. Might be his best punch of the night.
2 punches upstairs and then downstairs. Mix your attack. consummate professional. This is why I say Bernard Hopkins is like a textbook boxer.
Break. Let him go. Stop leaning, Bernard. Step back.
Former WBC junior middleweight champion Lupe Aquino has not had any answer for Hopkins. He's like a buzzsaw as he goes back to the body. And upstairs with a three-punch combination. Hopkins is just working and working and working.
Oh, yeah, the accumulation of punches. Earlier in this round, the knees buckled of Lupe Aquino from an overhand right.
There's no question that Aquino has an unbelievable chin here.
Oh, yeah, he is extremely tough.
Hopkins getting the fans excited. They'll come over from Philadelphia to cheer him on. Philadelphia fighter has never won a middleweight world championship. Could Hopkins down the road be the first? Still one more round to go, and that's bad news for Aquino, who has absorbed a great deal of punishment. Bernard Hopkins, trained by Bowie Fischer, Jack Lynch, managed and promoted by Butch Lewis. Did a skillful game plan.
Take that, Mike. I'm gonna get his arm. Give me your arm, man. Pull up there, pull up. I will,
He
pull
looks
up.
pretty fresh.
Bernard, last round, we touched gloves in the center.
Watch when you touch gloves, you don't come over the top. On my leg. All right, be on the cue.
Well, they're very happy over there in that corner. They should be, because Bernard Hopkins has thrown the power. Look at these punches from Bernard. Trying to battle back is Aquino, but Bernard puts him back in that shell.
I think he's got the right nickname, the Executioner, because he has executed excellently tonight.
Oh yeah, boxing is about execution of your punches.
12th and final round for the USBA middleweight title, which Hopkins owns and is defending for the 4th time, and barring a one-punch out of nowhere knockout by Aquino, it may even be a shutout by Hopkins in the judges' scorecard.
Oh, look at that. Look at those punches from Hopkins. Trying to grab is Aquino, and Bernard just keeps firing. Double piston action. Boom, crack. Right down the pike.
This is a great learning tool for a young fighter out there to work the entire fight, never stop.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I say Bernard is like textbook boxing. See him throw the combinations with his hand left home, still up by his head. If you drop that home base hand, the hand that's not punching, you leave yourself open. Oh, man. Heavy shots.
Hopkins continuing to look for the knockout with arsenal from both hands.
Oh, yeah, look at Aquino tie up.
Hopkins putting the pressure on as he has throughout the fight.
Both hands are free. Let him go.
He made a statement yesterday. I still don't get the respect. That's why I'm driven to win the world title. He has been extremely driven in this fight.
Yeah, he's driving his punches right into the face of Lupe Aquino. Driven his left and driven his right.
A minute to go in the 12th and final round. Hopkins with a combination.
Downstairs and then up.
Aquino again a little bit wobbly, but he uses the ropes as a crutch and regains some of his legs. Aquino has switched to southpaw several times in the fight, and I think sometimes he even confused himself. still doubling and tripling up on the jab. Even after 35 and a half minutes of boxing. Final seconds of the fight.
Even Rudy Battle gets a workout tonight. Very nice. Good display of boxing.
And this fight is over. And the question is, will that be the last time we see Lupe Aquino?
Well, he was talking retirement today when I talked with him. Perhaps he should seriously consider that. He was not even in this match. A match that Lupe Aquino 5-10 years ago might have been.
Bernard Hopkins, very efficient, very effective, very impressive. Still to come, the official decision. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I can take care of myself in the ring, but in my car, I've got to protect a lot more than just my pretty face. Like George, 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 and George. That's why I trust my brakes to Meineke. They're expert.
There's a good look at the executioner, Bernard Hopkins of Philadelphia, looking to improve to 26-2 with that impressive performance tonight over Lupe Aquino, but it still has to be official, and for that we go up to ring announcer Ed Darian.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coconut Ballroom here at Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel, we've got the scoring. All three judges, Frank Brunette, Eugene Grant, and Al DeVito, each score 120-108 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the USBA middleweight champion, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. Hopkins. And let's hear it one more time for Lupe Aligans Aquino. Let's hear it for him.
A unanimous decision, 120-108. I think that's exactly what it was. A complete shutout pitched by Hopkins, who did not lose one round according to the judges.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. Bernard Hopkins looked, once again, terrific tonight. He looked like the champion that he is.
Well, it's time for tonight's Power Punch, which is brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural.